Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more buckshot testing, and today we've got a combo that several of you guys have requested us to try out, and in theory, I think we might see a pretty decent pattern from it. This choke has done very well with a bunch of other similar loadings, and these loads did show us some decent promise the first time we tested them, so we'll see what we can get when we put the two of them together. But as for the shells we've got today, I brought out some more of the good old Remington Express buckshot loads, but these ones are the 12 gauge, 2 3/4 inch, 27 pellet load of 4 buck, moving about 1325 feet per second. We did test these a week or two ago now through just a regular old stock full choke, and they did show some decent promise, but they needed some refinement as well. And I think we've got a decent chance at that with today's choke combo. But as for the setup we're going to run, I brought out the Remington 1187. It's got a 28-inch barrel on it. And for the choke, we've got the Kicks butt kicker full in here. My particular butt kicker measures right at a 693 constriction. If I had to guess, they're probably supposed to be 695, but this exact one is 693. It's shown us a number of fantastic patterns with different buckshot all across the board, different brands, sizes, including 4 buck. And since it's right there at that full choke constriction range, that's exactly what Remington suggests on that box is a full choke. So this combo should work out nicely. But as for today's test, everything is set up the same as usual. I've got the big sheet of paper at 40 yards, the chronograph so we can get our velocity, and the templates that we can lay up over our results. So let's get you guys a view of that target and see how these Remington 27 pellet 4 buck shells can do through this butt kicker full. I have some decent hopes for it, but let's take our shot and see what we get. Alright, that shell gave us 1291 through the chrono. Boss claim is 1325, so we are a little bit under that, and we do have a 28-inch barrel plus a little bit of choke out the end. But this has not been unusual for these shells. High 1200s seemingly is where they want to sit, and that's still a perfectly fine velocity for them. But let's go check out our target and see how they actually performed through that Kicks butt kicker choke. Alright, so now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and we definitely saw some very interesting results. Right off the bat, the white dot was the point of aim, the paper's 36 inches wide, and we did have all 27 pellets on the paper. However, yet again, we saw 30 pellets actually impact the paper, not just 27. We've tested these shells twice now, and both times we've tested them, we've seen 30 pellets on the paper instead of 27. I mean, in theory, that's nice to have a couple bonus pellets, as long as they actually pattern good and kind of hold with the rest of them. Now, as far as the pattern, the entire thing as a whole looks pretty centered if you were to draw one big giant circle around everything, but the core absolutely favored to the right just a touch. I don't think that was me. It probably had more to do with this particular shell and choke combo, because different combos will impact different places. That's why you test things before you take it out on a hunt. But we definitely saw quite a bit of improvement here. We had a nice central condensed area right over here to the right of that white dot. It's a nice even area of spread. It's not overly tight necessarily, but that right there would be perfect coyote medicine all day long. And yes, you could absolutely hunt deer or pigs with it as well. But we do still have our handful of little straggly flyers and stuff like that. I did measure the pattern. Our farthest 2 points across gave us 26 inches. However, we had 16 inches of spread for our main majority area right around here. And that area right over there to the right is a nice pattern. I would like to see a few of those flyers condensed down still. And I think if we go just a touch tighter on the choke, we might be perfect. I've got a 690 Pattern Master Black Mamba, and that choke might be the ticket here. Either way, for the blank sheet of paper, not too bad, but let's throw a couple templates up and get a little better reference as to how they performed. So first up here is our 10-inch circle, and we had 12 pellets within a 10-inch circle at 40 yards. So 12 out of the, I guess we can call it 30 pellets. That's not too bad. That's almost half. And it's a pretty nice spread of them right there too. They're not all clumped to one side, and there's not any super massive voids or anything. And the majority rest of the pattern is behind the template, except those few flyers. And before I forget to mention, this is not the first Remington shell we've tested that's had more pellets than advertised in it. We've tried some 3.5-inch double out shells, and they did the same thing. So just wanted to put that note in there before I forgot about it. So maybe some of these new Remington shells have some counting issues with their automatic loading equipment or something like that. Either way, for a 10-inch circle, plenty good enough. But let's throw a few animal templates up and see how it would look on a hunt. All right, so here's our deer template, and I did favor it just a touch right since I think that's probably where our pattern actually favored. And yes, not everybody likes to use 4-buck for deer. However, it is more than capable of taking the deer within its respective ranges. You know, keep it 40 yards or so and in, you're going to be perfectly fine. Especially with this kind of a pattern. You're going to be hitting all of the vitals right in there. Heart, lungs, shoulder, all of it. So that is a decent deer hunting pattern as well. For somebody that might be hunting in a little bit thicker stuff, closer ranges, 30-yard and in type of thickets where people are running deer drives, busting deer through there, something like that. That's going to get it done all day long. So not a bad deer hunting pattern. If that's what I had, I would absolutely use it. I think we can get a touch tighter out of it still, but there's not a ton to really complain about there. It's a nice even spread, at least the main majority of the pattern, so it's simply going to get the job done. But let's throw the hog template up, and that'll give us a little better idea of how it looks on a little smaller of an animal as well. And here's that hog template. It's pretty much the exact same story as the deer. Absolutely good enough to take hogs with it all day long. And that would not be a terrible option if you're riding around on the back of a truck or something like that, chasing them through a field. It might give you a little more leeway than a double out load would. You're still hitting them with a decent amount of energy at 25, 30 yards or so. It's going to absolutely get the job done. And yeah, that would absolutely make for great coyote medicine as well. 40 yards, absolutely capable. You could easily push that pattern to 50 yards and probably a touch farther as well and still reliably get the job done on a coyote. So overall, this is not a bad pattern by any means. I would have liked to seen a couple of those flyers tuned in a touch, but the main majority area of our pattern is a nice even spread of them. And that can be a little finicky sometimes with 4-buck, trying to get a nice even condensed spread. So this combination is not bad at all. Absolutely usable just the way it is. However, me being me and testing as much as I do, I think we can still refine that just a little bit more. Even if we don't get a tighter spread for the main area of it, maybe we can pull in a few of those flyers around the edges. And that Pattern Master Black Mamba 690 that I've got might be the key to doing it. So yeah, this is not a bad pattern or performing combination at all, especially for a shell that does not have a wad or anything like that in there. It's just a plain old lead pellet with a little bit of buffer. So not a bad performance at all for what it is. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that performance right there? I'd call it a pretty solid pattern. There's not a whole lot to complain about, except maybe a few of those flyers I wish we could pull in just a little bit, but we absolutely saw improvement with that butt kicker over just a standard full choke. It didn't perform bad through a full choke, but we definitely dialed it in just a little bit more. I think we can still take a touch farther of a step here with choke, maybe a little bit more constriction and dial these in a little bit tighter, but still, that is absolutely a usable combination just like it is. And I'm definitely curious to see if this 30 pellet trend in a 27 pellet claimed shell actually continues. So far, both tests we've done with these have yielded 30 pellets, so it's going to be interesting to see if there's any inconsistencies with that. If they're going to put 30 pellets in the shell, it better be 30 pellets in all of the shells across the board. But we'll see what happens as we continue to test them. But leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these Remington 27 pellet 4-buck shells? And if so, what kind of performance have you seen from them? Is that a pattern or a combo you would hunt with? Or would you still like to see it a little bit more refined than that? And what other choke combos might you want to see us run these shells through? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.